I had to sit up for this because if it wasn't evident before, it should be evident now. The ancestors is pissed off, and Nottoway Plantation in Iberville Parish in Louisiana, perfect example, baby. That place is burnt to a crisp. Y'all keep having all these weddings at plantations like it's cute. That's that's weird. You're literally having a wedding where someone owned slaves. You clearly don't understand the history behind these plantations. Or, devil's advocate here, you do understand the history behind these plantations and you just don't give. Like, you really are getting married on the same grounds where people swung from trees. Baby, that plantation burned so crisp. To a motherfucking crisp. Do you hear me? Y'all need to stop playing with these ancestors. I said it, and I say it again. The karma that this country is about to get, unprecedented. Unfucking precedented. There's nothing that you could tell me to make me believe the ancestors ain't let that motherfucker burn to the ground. Do you hear me?
And I have to keep it 100. Please go follow this account on TikTok because she's speaking the truth. But before I go off in this video, shout out to all my black people that live in Louisiana, that's from Louisiana. Shout out to all the non-racist people that live in Louisiana, that's from Louisiana. But to the rest of you, if you don't like black people, don't like black issues, if you don't like black talks, get the stepping. And it's starting to seem like the tables are slowly turning. For example, we got the Carmelo Anthony case in Texas. Then we got the Rodney Hinton case in Ohio. I can go on and on. Now we have the Nottoway Plantation that was built in 1859 in Louisiana, completely gone. And I'm happy about that shit. And I have to keep it 100 with y'all. Those racist people in Louisiana are so mad right now because they are obsessed with slavery. They love it. You got people saying they need to start a GoFundMe. They're going to start a GoFundMe to rebuild that plantation. You got people saying that history was lost. Make that make sense. But that's why I love Facebook, because on Facebook, sometimes you get people that say what need to be said. Check this out. Charlotte Gillis said people complaining about history loss, but I just went to their website for this resort, aka Plantation, and not a single mention of slavery is anywhere on their page. The tour just glosses over the fact that almost 200 people were enslaved there in 42 tiny cabins, and no mention about how sugar plantations were the most deadly for slaves, and this was the biggest one in the area. Go complain about lost history elsewhere. This place's history was disgusting, and for it to be a wedding venue is even more gross. Make that make sense. And shout out to her. But these people had the audacity to turn a plantation to a resort and thought they can live happily ever after. You big dummy. But this the cold part. You had one dude say in his 34 years of living, he never saw a fire that intense. Don't take my word for it. Run the tape.
Good evening, friends. Thanks for joining us here at 10. I'm Elizabeth Vowell. The plantation, of course, has a complex history. So as you can imagine, its destruction today has stoked a range of emotions tonight. Still, it's a popular tourist spot for Iberville Parish, hosting events throughout the year. Perry Robinson has been out there all afternoon. He's joining us live. And Perry, you basically watched this all come crumbling down tonight.
That's right, Liz. We originally got out here around 3 p.m. this afternoon, and we were actually here to witness the exact moment that the roof actually caved in out here at this building. So let me step out of the shot so that you can see exactly what it looks like. Again, crews are continuously still trying to put water out on this building. Again, what you said earlier, the destruction of this building has brought out a lot of mixed reactions from people here in White Castle. As the sun set, dozens of people stood still as a massive fire consumed the historic Nottoway Plantation.
I'm like, okay, maybe a little fire. I didn't expect this.
According to the parish president, the fire broke out around 2 p.m. in the south wing of the building.
Some staff members stated that they had gone into the museum on the second floor and there was smoke. They went in and exited the museum, and at that time, when they returned, the whole room was in flames.
Built in the 1800s, the site has been a staple within the White Castle community. But for others, it's a reminder about Louisiana's dark past. Like many plantation sites today, Nottoway was a draw for tourists and events. It hosted a wedding just last week.
This is really a detriment to the community.
One person we spoke to said they have never seen a fire this intense.
In my 34 years of life, I can't say that I've seen something as bad as this.
Thankfully, nobody was hurt, but within a few hours, the entire building was destroyed.
And I have to keep it 100. And in the words of Juvenile, oh, you thought you had summer on lock, huh? Oh, you thought life was good, huh? Oh, you thought the ancestors forgot, huh? I told y'all the game is cold. And then I said, wait. Let's slow this fire down. And then bring out the index cards so we can break the history down of this plantation. Because I don't care what tour you do in Louisiana, whether it's West Feliciana, whether it's White Castle, whether it's Baton Rouge, whether it's New Orleans, whether it's Thibodeau. I don't care what tour you do in Louisiana. They not going to tell you the truth. They not going to tell you exactly what they did to our people. So check this out. Nottoway is the largest American plantation built in 1859 by over 100 enslaved people. The large mansion had 64 rooms. It was a bed and breakfast, museum, and a popular restaurant. Make that make sense. And in the words of one of my favorite movies, Candyland has burnt down. These people was running multiple businesses on a plantation, a museum, a bed and breakfast, and giving tours. And they thought it would last forever. But there's more. Enslaved people split time between building the mansion and working sun up to sundown on the sugarcane plantation. And look, if you got family members or if you from Plaquemine, White Castle, New Roads, Baton Rouge, 9 times out of 10, you had an ancestor that was on that plantation. So imagine them having to work every day, nonstop, from sun up to sundown, just for these people to come and take the credit. And they thought it would last forever. Now look at them. But there's more. The tour talks about 40 rooms named after the plantation family. There are no details about the 155 enslaved people at Nottoway Plantation. And this is why they tell everybody to move on. Slavery is over. Meanwhile, they getting rich from slavery still in 2025. Look, in 2024, they made $2.7 million. Where that money go to? They ain't giving that money back to the descendants of those slaves in White Castle. They not putting that money in the black community. So you think I feel sorry for them? Hell no. I'm glad this happened. But there's more. The famous White Ballroom is a popular place for Southern charm weddings and family celebrations. Make that make sense. These racist people, they don't think anything wrong with having a wedding and having events on the same land our people was murdered on the same land our people suffered on. But let us go to those Confederate grave sites, to those Confederate soldiers. Let us go to their grave sites and have a crawfish ball. Let us go to their grave sites and have a barbecue. How you think they're going to feel about that? Yeah, all right. The plantation had rebranded to Nottoway Resort and promotes luxury rooms with Wi-Fi, tennis courts, and cabana with a pool. Make that make sense. These people thought that they can turn a plantation to a resort and live a happy life, that nothing wrong will happen. But I told y'all the ancestors never forget. It might take 50 years. It might take 60 years. It might take 70 years. But they never forget. I told y'all the game is cold. And to everybody, to all you racist people that benefited from that plantation, it's going to be a long summer. You ain't making no money. Nottoway Plantation, also known as Nottoway Plantation House, was a historic plantation house located near White Castle, Louisiana. The home was a Greek Revival and Italianist-style mansion built by enslaved African people and artisans for John Hampton Rudolph in 1859, and was the largest antebellum plantation house in the South with 53,000 square feet of floor space until it was destroyed by fire on May 15, 2025. Make that make sense. And I'm going to be honest, May 15th to me will always be a holiday because these people been getting away. And I might do a part 2, part 3 and expose all these plantations. They making millions of dollars while the descendants of the slaves still struggling with life. Go to White Castle. And I'm not talking down on nobody. Just go to White Castle. It's no way in hell this plantation should make $2.7 million in 1 year. And the descendants of the slaves are suffering. That don't make no sense. But The reason why I really did this video is because of my friend, Dr. Crawford. When all this happened, when that plantation house caught on fire, she went there, she took some videos, took some beautiful pictures. I told her she got to frame this. If you agree, put it in the comment section. Should she frame this picture? I told, as a photographer, this the one. This probably the best picture I've seen in years. A plantation home burning and a black woman in front of it just full with joy. I'm telling you. So as I end this video, thank you to the ancestors, because the people that benefited off making money from that plantation, it's going to be a long summer. Ashe, I'm out. But before I go, in the words of Usher, let it burn.